No, it's been a minute. I just needed to take some time. I actually kind of took a lot longer than I probably should have on the Damar Hamlin situation. But after knowing that he's all good and like he's breathing on his own again, I feel like I can come on here and comfortably make content on this channel again. So today we're going to be recapping the games that happened in week 17. And for the first time since week 14, we're not going to have to recap all 16 games, all 32 teams. But yeah, I continue to pray for Damar Hamlin that, like, even though like he is back, like, breathing on his own, it's still, just rough. I mean, I won't talk about that game. There are definitely some things I could say, but that's not the important thing, at least in terms of, what happened on Monday night. But anyways, I mean, I don't want to say anyways, like, like I want to brush that aside, but I'm just trying to transition into the next thing because I know like this is supposed to be like a recap and I want to get to all the games, but I figured, I want to throw that out there, especially because I'm a Bills fan, and that just shocked me. I don't know, man, I nearly cried. I nearly shed a tear that night. And it was rough, but so I guess we can get into the recap now. I think I've talked enough about that game. I don't want to make you guys too sad, but anyways, let's get into the Cowboys versus Titans game. This one I did see. I was out with my friends and I saw like the first half. We were bowling. And I didn't really see too much of the second half. I think Josh Dobbs started for the Titans. It was, yeah, about what you would expect. The Cowboys went in, beat Tennessee's backups, and I mean, it looked like Dallas was struggling for a little bit. Dude, the first pick that Dak Prescott had, that wasn't even his fault. It was his receiver's inability to catch the ball. It was just, for me, it was just like, what the hell was, he didn't even try to catch it. It was just like, he was spinning around and it was like he tossed it back to the other guy. It was like, what are you doing? It wasn't even Prescott's fault, man. But as expected, the Cowboys defense just pounded Tennessee's offense, and the Dallas offense went to town on Tennessee's defense. So, yeah, that's not really much of a shock to me. Next up, we got the Browns at the Commanders. And when I saw that they were putting in Carson Wentz, I probably should have went with the Cleveland Browns, but I didn't because I'm an idiot. And apparently Ron Rivera didn't know that the Commanders could get eliminated. So, I mean, that is just piss poor, like, IQ right there. That's just piss poor awareness. Like, not knowing that your team could get, like, I didn't even know they could get eliminated. But it's not my job to know. It's not my job to know. I'm not the head coach. I can't be like, whatever, bro. The Browns, I didn't really watch too much of this game. There are quite a few games I didn't watch too much of because I was out. So I was out at Universal Studios, so I didn't really get to see a whole lot of this game. All I know is that Carson Wentz just played like dog water, and the Browns defense and looked like a top 10 offense, which happens when you're playing Carson Wentz, post injury. I didn't really see too much of what Deshaun Watson did, but I guess he played better than, last week, which isn't too hard to do, I guess. But anyways, next up we'll go to the Colts-Giants game because I watched a little bit more of this one. But yeah, the Giants just pounded the Colts. Honestly, dude, I don't think I would have been shocked if the Colts had actually won this game. I had a weird feeling about the Colts, but the Giants, they locked up a playoff spot, and I think Brian Daboll has all but secured the fact that he's going to win Coach of the Year. He should, dude. He should. He's going to be the first Giants coach to lead this team to the playoffs, and especially if they win in the wild card, if they get to the divisional round, there is no way that he doesn't win. There is absolutely zero shot he doesn't win Coach of the Year. I can't see it. I can't see a world where he doesn't win Coach of the Year. Like, unless, like, he has an epic collapse this week against another bad game against the Eagles and then they get blown out in the wild card round. That's it. Brian Daboll has been really, really good. And this is not just because he's a former Bill, but he has done a great job. Like, worse receivers, the same exact quarterback, literally almost the same exact roster from last year. And he took this team to 9-6-1. Maybe even 10-6-1 if they pull off the upset, but I don't think they will. But That's for my picks tomorrow, right before the Chiefs-Raiders game. Speaking of the Raiders, dude, how about Jarrett Stidham? I know he threw 2 picks, and one of them set up the Niners for a game-winning field goal, but, I mean, he didn't play all that bad. Look, dude, honestly, this game does not show that Derek Carr was the problem. You know why? Because the Raiders' defense gave up 37 points. They gave up 37 points. For everybody saying that Derek Carr is the problem, they got to get him out of here, he wasn't the problem. And honestly, I hope he leaves the Raiders. I hope he leaves you guys. Because he deserves better. He deserves better than this mediocrity that you've provided this quarterback. Piss poor management, piss poor defense, absolutely sucks. Absolutely sucks. It just, I mean, the Niners defense didn't do all that well. They were a little off. I think they had some injuries too. But hey, Brock looked pretty good. I'm not going to lie. No pun intended. But anyways, the Niners, they still look good. Now they're the 2 seed. The Raiders, they didn't look bad. But dude, if you give this team like a middle of the pack defense and not this bottom 5, bottom 10 defense, like bottom half of the league defense, like even if they're like number 15 defense, I'm pretty sure the Raiders would be in the playoff hunt right now. They would, matter of fact, I think they'd have a playoff spot locked up by now. But no, you have a bad coach in Josh McDaniels. You have bad management all around. It's just frustrating that everybody's blaming this on Derek Carr, and it's not even his fault. He's been the most consistent thing that the Raiders have had for the last 9 to 10 seasons. Maybe 8. I don't know. He's been in the league for as long as I've been watching football. He's been a Raider for as long as I've been watching football. It's not even his fault. I don't think it's his fault, dude. It sucks that he's not going to win a playoff game as a Raider, and he's going to have to go do it somewhere else if he gets to go to the playoffs again. I don't know, dude. We'll see. I could end up being very, very wrong on this, but, dude, I'm just mad. I'm just upset, dude, that the Raiders decide they're going to start playing good. Like, offensive. Like, oh, my God, dude. I mean, Carr, I don't know if Carr would have done the same thing, but, dude, this game shows that the defense is the problem. You let a rookie quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, do that to you. But we'll move on. We'll move on. I'm not going to talk about this game. Next up, we got the Jets at the Seahawks. And I think I picked the Jets to win this one. I think Mike White was in, so that's why I went with the Jets. And the Seahawks were kind of streaking. I mean, both these teams were. You know, not naked in the streets, but anyway, they weren't streaking. Like, they were like, on a losing streak. I'll put it, on a losing streak. I think that's a better way to put it. The Seahawks came out, their defense played well. I don't think I really watched too much of this game. I saw more of the Rams-Chargers game. And, I mean, the Chargers just beat the crap out of the Rams, dude. It got to a point where they put in their backup quarterback. It was so bad. And in the battle for LA, the Chargers showed that it's their house and not the Rams' house. I'm going to leave it at that. But the Seahawks, they did good enough to win this game. They're the 7th seed right now. All the Seahawks have to do is win and hope that the Packers don't win. And the Seahawks should be fine. And I guess while we're on the topic of the Green Bay Packers, let's talk about them. I'm not shocked that they beat the Vikings. I picked Green Bay to win. It's the fact that they beat the crap out of Minnesota 41-17. And they made Minnesota look like, well, I think Minnesota's a fraudulent team. A little bit of a fraudulent team. Like, they're good, but they're not like, you know, they're not Super Bowl bound, all right? They might win a playoff game, but then they'll get bounced by either the Eagles or the 49ers. They're going to get knocked down in the divisional round. I don't see them going past that. But honestly, like, if the Giants beat the Eagles this week, I could see the Giants maybe even winning this one. I don't know. Green Bay, they looked really, really good. They kept themselves in the playoff spot, and they're one win away from going to the playoffs. Actually, let me put it like this. They're one win away from getting beat by the Niners again in the playoffs. I'll put it like that, because it just seems like the Niners are Green Bay's kryptonite. Much like Kansas City is Buffalo's kryptonite. Or Buffalo is, no, yeah, I said it right. Kansas City is Buffalo's kryptonite, and San Francisco is Green Bay's kryptonite. Don't worry, Green Bay. You and I are like, we're like best buds when it comes to having kryptonite, you know? We're like Superman. Anyways, next up, we got a game that kind of shocked me. The Saints and the Eagles. Now, I mean, look, Gardner Minshew, like, he was in, so I guess I shouldn't be too shocked, but It's the Saints. Like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Gardner Minshew, you're telling me that the Eagles offense with Gardner Minshew has a great game against the Dallas Cowboys and then they bomb against the Saints? What the hell happened? I didn't really watch too much of this game. I watched a little bit of this game. There were a lot of games I didn't really watch too much of. So I kind of went back to the box score. I did see some highlights of some games, but overall, I mean, this was probably just a boring game to watch. Eagles would have won with Jalen Hurts in. It might have been close, but the Eagles would have won, and they'd have the 1 seed on lockdown. So, yeah, maybe the Eagles win this week. Next up, we got the Bears at the Lions, and I mean, it was about what you expect. Like, the Lions go and beat the Bears. Bears at this point are honestly just tanking for a draft pick. And honestly, I think that's the smart thing. That's like the only thing you can do at this point. Like, you want to build around Justin Fields as much as you can. You want to get a high draft pick. And I mean, hey, if the Texans beat the Colts, you could get that number 1 pick. But it's not going to matter. You guys aren't going to draft Bryce Young, right? Right? You shouldn't. You should focus on building up that defense and building around Justin Fields. Anyways, Aiden Hutchinson, I saw like he had a pick. Like he hid somewhere on the field and Justin Fields didn't see him and he threw in Hutchinson's direction, and I think Aiden Hutchinson's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. The Lions have looked good. They're definitely an improved team and they can make noise next year. Next up, we got the Falcons and the Cardinals. We got a battle of the birds. The bird. Bird's the word. Bird's the word. Anyways, bird was the word in this one. It was a close game all the way through, and I did actually see like the last little bit of it, or at least the game cast of it. It was kind of a boring game all the way around. I'm sure the Falcons threw to like their 50 million receivers once again. And then obviously leaving Kyle Pitts out. I'm sure that's what happened. But the Arizona Cardinals, what I saw, they kicked the field goal to go up 19-17, and then Younghoe Koo kicked the game-winning field goal to give the Falcons the win, and worsen their draft pick. We'll put it like that. This honestly was just a boring game to watch. This game was probably the game of the week, in my opinion. We got the Panthers at the Bucks. Now, I did see quite a bit of this game, at least the end. I think I want to say the Panthers jumped out to a 14-0 lead before Tom Brady decided he was going to go, yeah, and then win the game. Kidding. I don't know if he did exactly that. Would have been funny, though, if he actually did. I'm sure he did, but anyways, before Tom Brady decided he was going to go into his, comeback mode and then beat the Panthers. Carolina actually got close. They got close, but Tampa Bay, they lock up the NFC South. Even if they lose and the Saints win, the Buccaneers are still getting into the playoffs. It really and truly isn't going to matter. But I think Tampa Bay is probably going to try and, they're going to put in their starters just to get a winning record, but yeah, Tampa Bay won, and Carolina, I'm sorry, you guys have been eliminated. Now we'll go to the AFC side of things, and this game I think showed that I don't know, because Russell Wilson played good against the Chiefs when they played in Arrowhead, so I guess we'll see what Russell Wilson does this week against the Chargers, because he didn't really play all that great. I mean, he threw a touchdown, but that's about it. Wilson, I think he threw 3 touchdowns and a pick, and Mahomes, he did Patrick Mahomes things. I think he threw a pick. I think he threw a pick or two, but I'm pretty sure he accounted for 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns like he always does. Chiefs offense still looks good, and even though they're beating bad teams by, not that much, which, I mean, it gives me, not a whole lot of confidence in me picking them over the Raiders just because of how the Raiders played and how the Chiefs played, but I'm not counting out the Chiefs for a second. It won't matter. Even if, it's a neutral site game like the NFL is saying it is, but I don't know, man. The Chiefs, they're still a good team, and I'm not going to count them out. I'm not going to doubt them for a second. Next up, we got the Jags at the Texans, and the Jaguars actually beat the Texans for the first time in a minute. So, wow. 31-3. Trevor Lawrence, I didn't see too much. I did see quite a little bit of this game. I think he only threw for like one touchdown. I think he counted for like one or two touchdowns. But overall, it didn't matter. The Jaguars defense, for the second week in a row, held their opponents to 3 points. But, I mean, it's the Jets and the Texans, and both those offenses suck. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars played exceptional again against the Texans. But when they get to the playoffs, their offense needs to show up. Trevor Lawrence has to be him. Jaguars have to show up, and I think they can. They can give the Chargers a run for their money. Or the Ravens, depending on who they play. Next up, we got the Dolphins at the Pats. This game was close. The Patriots, they took the win in this one, despite the fact that the Dolphins got all the way down to their third-string quarterback. Which, New England doesn't even deserve to be in the playoffs, dude. This team sucks. Well, I say sucks, I mean, they're 8-8, but, like, compared to, like, previous teams, they suck. Like, they're 8-8, it's not bad, but it's not good. I honestly hope we just beat the crap out of New England this week. I actually, you know what? New England, they did a lot of good for us when Damar Hamlin was, not doing all that great. So, you know what? That adds respect. That adds some sort of respect to the Patriots. I know, even though they're a division rival, I don't dislike them as much as I did before. All right? I respect them now. I have a little bit more respect for the Patriots than I did before the situation happened, so you know what? I'm not even going to say anything. But unfortunately for Miami, they got to win this week, and they got to hope that we beat them. I'm pretty confident we can beat the Patriots, and I think the Dolphins can win. Well, now they got their third-string quarterback in, so I'm not as confident, and it's not September, so they don't have their temperature on their side. But Patriots won, and the Dolphins didn't. That's what matters at the end. And finally, we have the last game of the week that was completed. It was the Steelers at the Ravens. I saw the final drive of this game. Dude, Kenny Pickett got that. He got that dog in him. He's got that clutch gene, dude. I think for the second week in a row, he led a game-winning drive. And then the Steelers defense, they came up clutch, and they ended up winning the game for him. Absolutely great for the Steelers. It's crazy, dude. They're not going. They better not lose to the Cleveland Clowns. If they lose to the Clowns, I'm going to just crap my pants. All right, because the Browns are the team to officially end Mike Tomlin his first losing season. I don't know what I'm going to do, dude. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my crap. I don't think it's going to happen. It shouldn't happen, but at least with what this game tells me. But right now, hey, the Steelers, they have an outside chance to make the playoffs. All they need is for us to beat the Patriots, for the Jets to beat the Dolphins, and the Steelers are in. As long as they win, of course. If all three of those teams lose, then the Pats would go to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure, unless the Titans win, then I think that shakes things up though. Then you have like two 8-9 teams from the AFC in it. And that makes the AFC look more fraudulent than the NFC. You have two teams with a losing record in versus teams with maybe one losing record. Depends on what the Buccaneers do, but anyways. I think that's it. I think that actually just about does it. Babe, let me know what you guys thought of this video in the comments below. Tomorrow I will get my picks in before the Chiefs-Raiders kickoff game. And I'm going to let you guys know right now I got the Chiefs beating the Raiders and the Jaguars beating the Titans. Unless something comes up tomorrow where I'm forced to pick between those two teams, change my picks tomorrow when I actually make this video, I will let you guys know in the video. But with that being said, if you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you're new, and click that notification bell to get all the latest news on all my latest content. Also, forgive me if I don't really have too much energy, if I didn't have too much energy or I seemed off. I was at jury duty all freaking day. But yeah, with that being said, you guys, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.